is happening, FPL Surgery? My name is Dave, with me is Rich, and we are doing Rich's first draft. Rich, how you feeling?
Good. I was kind of reluctant to do this.
I know, I don't know
Just
why.
just because I'm not completely settled. I'm trying to keep an open mind this year. And every time you do a draft, you're like, this is it. And then you're on Twitter and there's rumors about Messi and Kane and Grealish and
Yeah.
things are changing fast.
I think you don't need to worry about it. This is our first draft. We're going to be
I'm not
doing
worried.
we're
Not worried.
you're
You
petrified. You're petrified. And we're going to be doing a final drafts video, I think the day before we go live with FPL and the season starts. So it'll be Thursday, won't it? But in the meantime, let's have a quick look at your draft. Bam. So
There it is, and that's the video.
thank you everyone for watching. Right, goalkeeper first, Sanchez, classic, easy peasy.
I was on Backman and Foster all the way up until a couple of days ago, and then I just thought maybe going Sanchez is safer. I'm still 60-40. I had a look at Martinez a couple of times as well.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to go Sanchez.
Okay. So the things to note here then is 3-5-2. So you really only needed to pick 4 defenders because your fifth one's going to be fodder. So you've went with TAA, you went with Shaw, Dean, and Veltman for that double up. So no Ailing, and you've obviously went for the 3 biggest owned defenders.
Yeah, I've had different variations. I mean, I'm not completely set on the formation. It's very. I've had a couple where there's 4 at the back. I've tried 5 at the back as well, but then the subs are awful. Otherwise, I probably would consider 5 at the back. Yeah, those look like the 3 main defenders. Obviously, they're all on set pieces.
So are
They're
you
all
saying right
quite
now
popular.
your bench isn't bad?
The bench could be worse. I mean, at least I've
Right.
got with this, I've got Veltman. So
Right,
at least
okay.
I've got a playing sub. When you start going 5 at the back, you can end up with absolute, I'm talking your first sub is, Billy Gilmore or
Hey,
or something
don't
like that.
you
But
dare.
if I change this defense at all, I'd either go bigger at the back and sling someone like Stones or Cancelo in and maybe go 4.
Yeah.
Or if I need to take some money out, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a second, probably Luke Shaw would be the first guy I'd look at downgrading. There's players like Eiling, who you mentioned, who I quite like. Also, I was looking at Villa defenders. I'm still looking at them because Martinez is so highly owned. Those first 3 fixtures are so good. I actually wouldn't be against having some coverage from Villa.
So let's move into the midfield then. Obviously, the more interesting. You've went with 5, and you've went with Salah and Mane.
Yeah, so obviously this could be Salah and Bruno as well.
Of course.
Part of the thinking here is
You want to
we
ruin
did
your
some
season
stats.
right away. Exact same as last season.
The thing is, I'm starting to think it won't ruin the season because people are not going to be captaining Bruno.
Right.
And also, City against Norwich is obviously game week 2. So I'd already have Mahrez in. I could switch Mane to De Bruyne as well. So I think even if I started with Bruno, I probably wouldn't have Bruno for long. So I'm not against going Mane. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to go Mane over Bruno. If we know Jota's going to play, I'll just go for Jota. But I do think at this moment in time, I prefer Mane to Bruno ever so slightly.
That's crazy.
And I don't think it'll ruin my season. I can't see Bruno scoring a hat-trick. I know he did well away at Leeds last year. He's not going to be captain. So,
but you're betting against a lot of people.
thing is, if people are captaining Salah, then they think Liverpool are going to do well. As in, they're going to probably have the biggest win of the weekend. So why not double up with Mane? Obviously, you're going to have Trent as well.
That's true. That's true.
Why not go for it?
I mean, the reasons why not to go for it is in case something happens and Bruno does really well, and it's going to be difficult for you to get him if you're already going to KDB game week 2. Or I suppose you could get rid of KDB after a couple of game weeks and bring Bruno in.
The glass is half full. It could go very, very well. And
that's true.
I'm not going to pick Bruno just because he's highly owned, because if he then doesn't return, it's a failure. At that price, you have to be confident that Bruno's gonna haul.
Yeah.
You can't just be picking him for safety.
I just want to note that it seems like from the offset, you are very happy with messing around with your premiums. You're going a bit late riser. You're going a bit off key. I like it. It's boring to be co-host to someone who's doing the same stuff as you. So I like it.
This
I'm
could
excited.
change because I'm a massive Kane fan. So if we get some clarity on
Yeah.
Kane, but again, I'd happily downgrade Mane, or if I had Bruno, I'd happily downgrade him to get to Kane. So I don't see this as a. I don't think people are going to own Bruno for the entire season.
Yeah, it's almost like you're basically saying, look, I'm quite happy with messing around with my premiums, so much so that I'm not even going to start with Bruno. Whereas a lot of people are going to be starting with Bruno and they're going to be like, actually, no, he's one of my core players. I don't really want to be doing anything, and they're
Exactly.
going to be cutting your team up. Whereas you're like, I'm cutting my team up day one.
Well, plus,
Don't at me.
it's doing it a safe way because I'm not going without Bruno and then I can't get to him. I could go Mane to Bruno if it's gone very, very wrong.
Yeah.
So I kind of like having that price point of 12 million because I can go to KDB, I could stick with Mane, or I could go to Bruno himself.
Fair play. And then obviously
Flexible.
up front, Tony, the classic, and
Yeah.
Antony. Oh,
Antonio.
the West Ham only striker that they've got, really. Are any of these players short term, or are you thinking of sticking with these as long as they're banging? What's going on?
Or as long as they're fit. I mean, I think Tony, because he's on penalties and because he's cheap, I think he's quite an easy mainstay in the team.
Uh-huh.
And I like Antonio. I mean, I know he's injury prone, and we are recording this. It's only the day after Ings has signed, shockingly signed for Villa.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's going to get more tempting near the time. Obviously, Kane could be tempting. We don't know if Lukaku's going to sign for Chelsea. So at the moment, I'm happy with those two. I've also had teams, where I've had 3 up front, so I could still look at bringing in someone like Wilson or Ings,
really?
like I mentioned, and then I could look at downgrading, one of the midfielders.
Yeah, it's interesting how we just kind of glaze over the fact that big at the back is kind of back this season. Like it's all we talk about these 4.5s, but everyone seems to have Alexander-Arnold and either Shaw or Dean, and maybe even both of them. I've also seen people with the same back as you and Stones or whatever.
Some with Robertson. He was in a lot of my earlier drafts as well. There's a lot of good defenders. There are a lot of good premium defenders. The best first and second subs are these 4.5 million defenders as well.
Yeah.
So someone like Veltman, Eiling, then White could be one.
Is there anyone you're worried about not owning?
I'm worried about Man United coverage, really. And that's probably why I've gone for Shaw, even though he might be risky game week 1. Yeah. Again, I've looked at Greenwood. I mean, I don't particularly like him. He feels very, very risky, and not in a good way, like Mahrez kind of risky. Just like he's going to become a problem.
Yeah, he's in that sweet spot though for me. 7.5 million. You can get anyone. You can go to Buendia, Rafinha. I mean, you're starting with Rafinha, but for me, not having.
Yeah, and if I'm not going with Bruno, I could go for him. I mean, if Jota's going to play, then I could go Bruno and Jota.
You know what? I'm excited. Well. I'm excited for this, Rich. This start with Mane, go to Kane, jump back to KDB, then maybe have a little fling with Bruno, then downgrade maybe to, I don't know.
I think I'm being realistic as well, though. I think people are going to wildcard early. By people, me. I really can see with this transfer window, I think they're going to wildcard early. So, I mean, I'm not going to stress it that much, to be honest. And that's why I've even considered getting Martinez in goal, just because his fixtures are so good. Imagine he got, a couple of big hauls in the first couple of weeks, which he's capable of.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're gonna have to find out.
I've considered if I want to go a bit more longer term, maybe I should keep 0.5 a million in the bank, so I could upgrade Mahrez to Son.
Right.
So I've got to think of all these little things.
Fair play.
But that's my team so far. I like it, but I'm sure by the time you release this video, I will hate it.
And that's why we play the game. So we're going to be, like I said at the start, we're going to be doing another, potentially even a stream of just our final teams going into the season. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It would be absolutely amazing. We're trying to hit that golden 1,000 subscribers. So please do consider subscribing. There's so many videos that we're going to be doing between now and the pre-season finishing, let alone the entire season. So stick with us and we'll bring some decent content. If you didn't like Rich's team, please let us know in the comments. I'm certainly going to be there and letting us know.
He's just bitter after the hate comments he got on his one. Somehow it got over 1,000 views.
I know. It's because it just had the word draft in it. That's all it was. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Up the pod.
Up my draft only. Bye.
Down your draft, mate.